Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss the topic of error handling. So in this error handling, we are going to consider one endpoint that is uh, from my project like slash v1 payment. So while considering this endpoint, either we are going to success response or either we are going to receive the failure response. So when we are receiving the success or failure, so we are going to maintain one standard format of success or failure. So let's first create one class in order to create that response one. So inside Pojo, I am going to create one class that is create related to payment. So create payment response. And here I am going to provide whatever in the response format we are going to get. So we are going to get either transaction ID. So we can mention transaction reference or either provider reference. So who is going to provide? They will give their unique ID. So provider reference. And third one is in response we will get some kind of URL either to redirect or either to do the payment. So redirect URL. So in order to generate the getter setter, we have to provide the at the rate data and the rate builder. So builder is basically it's present in the long box. So we have to add the form in form.xml. We have to add the dependency and then all args constructor, then no args constructor. Doing control shift. So now we have to create the response object in the payment controller because we are going to receive the response in this class itself. So now we are going to create that payment request. This payment request. Payment controller we are going to this class name. I'm going to create as a create payment request. So this is response class. Create payment response. So import this class. Now we are going to provide the value. this reference variable, we are going to provide some of the variables. So set payment controller, set transaction reference provider reference and not set redirected URL. Provider reference, I can give any kind of reference number. Provider ref 001. And here I'm going to change this string to the this here, this one return type it's going to change, and here also no need to provide this dummy data. I'm just giving this one same create pivot response, and here it's going to be control s. So this I'm going to remove this one. Yeah, basically, in my project, we have followed some of the conventions of the HTTP status. So we will be going to see some of the status. Going to take the new file. So uh, to maintain one of the standard, so like when we are getting any kind of HTTP status, if it's a success, so there is some kind of a response is there, status code is there. So internally here, like one access is there, two access, three access, four access, and five access. Majorly, we are using this five status code to maintain the that API response, whatever status code we are getting. So when we are getting one access, that is related to some kind of a informational code related data. It's there, and when uh, access is there, in that basically two not 200 is there and 201 is there. So when we are getting 200 or 201, that time for 200 is basically when everything is okay, everything is okay, and we can proceed with that system. We can proceed this system with this code. So 2 not means that. And in one more, it's very famous 201. So when we are creating any kind of request on the server side, so that time it message we are getting like resources created. Successfully it's created. And three not three not is like kind of a redirect. If some redirection URL redirection is there, that time we are using this 3 not 3 access. And 4 access also majorly we are using. So 4 access when any kind of a client errors is there, that time we are going to use this one. And 5 not it's also it's coming every time like server error when we are getting, that time we are getting this using this 5 not. And to get any kind of a response, usually we can like response entity is one object which we are using to get any kind of a response. So we will be using the response entity basically for two majorly for two purpose. So what it will do, it will take any kind of object and it will return the if you want to return that response, so it will be using in that. And second one is that it will be take care of all the code status. So here instead of doing this create payment, I am going to use that response entity. Let's see what it's going to happen. Response entity. So it's going to give the response object response. So response, and it's going to generate one generic tag key. I'm going to put this create payment inside. Create payment response. So create payment response is there. And in return type, so if this if this is a response entity, so here return type it should be response entity. Return response entity. Response entity. And it's going to give the create payment response. So you can see dot okay. So when we are using dot okay, whenever 201 that resources is going to generate the successfully, that time we are using that okay. So here it's going to give the response in a create payment response. Create payment response. Error cannot install. Now in service layer, we are going to create one interface. going to create the payment service. Service. Now here we are going to pass one method, public create payment, create payment, response, create payment, payment request, payment request. We are going to import this one and payment request. The spelling is incorrect. Payment request. And now this for this one we are going to inject in the payment controller. And here we are going to insert payment service dot create payment service. Interface which method we have defined. The service here we have defined service create payment. Okay, the spelling is so now in this series we are going to discuss about the error handling. So now we are going to do and we are going to create the unchecked exception. So here we are doing the if else condition. So if that payment request, whatever we are getting, it's equal to the PayPal, it's not equal to, then we are going to generate the exception. So we have to not equal to payment request dot get payment dot get provided dot equals, if it's equals, here we are going to generate the output. So now we are going to code the custom exception what we are generating. Now we are going to create one package separate, that is for separate for exception package. Inside one class we will create. So I will take that class as a validation exception. So how we are going to create the custom exception? Basically, we have to extend that class to the runtime exception. So, I have just searched in the chat GPT that custom exception. So here you can see that this class validation exception, it's going to extend the runtime exception, and here some of the fields like error code, error message, HTTP status is there, and then constructor injection is there. After that, getters and setters is there, and after that, toString is there. So I'm going to copy this code. I'm going to paste our new file. This extra curly bracket I can remove. So now we are going to here. We have generated that get payment. So now in this payment service.impl, we are going to generate the custom exception. We are using the throw keyword to throw the exception. Now I'm going to remove this one. So this is the method which I have wrote. If that value is it's not equal, then I'm going to throw this error. This is the like syntax we have to follow. Validation. We are going to throw the error the like by using this validation service. Validation exception. This is the custom exception of the name, whatever message it's going to generate. So validation exception, error code, whatever we wrote in the enum, that constant package, that message we have to give here. Error code enum. So we can copy paste from error code. Invalid. So I am going to import this validation exception. Error code enum. This is also we have to import. Dot invalid provider dot get error code. So now if that value is not matching, this error is going to. So two messages in enum, that constant package, we have wrote the two value we have given. One is error code, one is error message. So this is the error code it's going to generate, and one is error code enum dot invalid provider get error message. Now this is a message one. Third, third one is like we have to send the HTTP status code, what we have discussed. HTTP status code, status dot bad request. So I'm going to import this one. We have created that. Uh, we have created that using try catch. We have generated the exception. Now in Spring Boot, we have to handle that exception because we are throwing the exception. In exception package, I'm going to create one class that is going to handle that exception. So whenever in Spring Boot, uh, any exception is going to generate it. So Spring Boot internally it's going to see is any class named as controller advice. It's going to handle any exception. Now this is the class which I am writing. It's going to handle. So this is the validation exception handler. So now in this class, first we have to annotate this class as a at the rate controller advice. It means uh, in project anywhere exception is generating, now this class is going to handle that exception. Controller advice. Control shift. It's not working. At the rate controller advice. Control shift. So now I'm going to write here. to write in this exceptional handler this class validation exception class. So this class is going to throwing the exception and it's going to handle. So by using the response entity public response entity validation exception. So it's going to be generic type where we are going to give the error response, whatever response we want to generate. Response entity is going to import error response is going to import exception handler is going to import handle handle validation exception. So this is the method name. And first we will return to avoid the error, return new response entity. It's going to generate the status. So here we are going to generate the error object response object new keyword to create the object new error response. And here we are giving those two methods which we have provided in the error one, like error code and error message. Dot get error code dot get error message. Now we are going to create this error response class because the class itself is not present. So I'm going to create in Pojo. Error response and providing those two fields private string error and private string error message.